Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm working on my paper clip, my mini Gorjuss paper clip for the month of November. This month I have chosen stamp number 2, which is New Heights. And I've already gone ahead and colored it in here with some watercolors. In my art journal layout for November, I ended up cutting off the books and just using the girl. This time I am definitely using the books because the books are the theme for this paperclip. I did do a couple of looks here. The purple and yellow is something I always go for, I don't know why, but it just didn't seem right. It seemed a little bit too much for me, so I went back to just a gray dress with the red polka, and I really like that one. So I'm going to be using this one today. Okay, for the base of my paper clip, I have been using these tags by Prima. They're really good thickness and they're really easy to fold into a small size, and they fit perfectly into this paper clip. So what I always do is make sure that the paper clip is facing to the left, and then I thread this through this way, and they just fit so perfectly onto this paper clip. And that's basically the base of my paper clip. Now, my design this month is for me to use a whole lot of this paper that I made. So I ended up dyeing some paper with, I ended up boiling some leaves and then using the water that came off that to dye or to stain some normal copier paper. And I also ended up doing some faux eco printing. I have a video showing how I did that. I'll link it below in the description box. But yeah, basically I have all these papers, and what I wanted to do was just do a whole lot of papers to represent like book pages, and so that she was coming out of a book, so to speak. And then I'm going to see if I could add some of these photo corners to the bottom to kind of also simulate a book. So that's kind of how I'm designing it in my head. I haven't gone ahead and done this yet, so we're going to see how this turns out. So I'm going to start off with this script stamp by Kaiser Craft. I'm reaching for vintage photo. I'm also using Distress Oxide, and I'm just going to go ahead now and print this really pretty script onto some of my aged looking faux eco printed paper. I mix up the colors now and repeating that script stamp with Faded Jeans. And I'm doing the same here, and I believe this is milled lavender. It's a one of the light purples. And I'm printing 2 of each color, so I have a total of 6 pages there. I always do 2 of whatever I'm doing, just in case it doesn't work out. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold down the paper so that it's exactly the size of the tag. And I'm really just doing a rough job here, and I'm using my ruler, and I'm just trying to simulate old book pages that have been torn, that have been aged, so not doing too much of a good job keeping it nice and trim. Now I'm grabbing one of the papers and I'm just testing out my theory. So I poke a hole using my pen from the back to the front, and I'm now just going to curl the pages over, creating a little bit of a hole. Now I'm just sticking one of the pages down, so this is going to be the background that you see through all the open pages. I'm using PVA glue to glue that down, and I'm also sticking the back of that paper clip together. And now with that hole that I punched out, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it so that she looks like she's coming through the pages. So I'm slowly just tearing a little bit at a time, and I'm trying to have a look at how I'm going to do this. I do end up figuring it out, and the strategy is to use the smallest opening at the bottom and the largest opening at the top. And I use one of each colored ink pages that I used, and I end up using 3 pages as well, so it looks like a nice layer using 3 pages. And I just adjust as I go. I'm opening the holes up a little bit more just so that you can see each of the pages. It feels good to tear this paper. I don't know, it's something about the texture, the look and the texture just feel right. Now, once I've got it all to how I like it, I start by adding double-sided tape in between each of the pages underneath the flaps, and I stick them all together. Then I end up adding PVA glue on the entire panel here, and I'm going to stick it down with PVA glue to the background of the paperclip. So really there are 4 layers of script. 1 is the background and 3 are curled papers. And I'm just going to attach it down with PVA glue and cut off some of the excess. Now it's time for the little girl to go on. I put her on using 3D tape, and I make sure that the books are kind of touching the background and that she is kind of coming out and onto the curled pages. Next I grab some black cardstock and cut these photo corners out with this die. I love this. There are 2 little ones and 4 larger ones, and I end up going for the 4 larger ones. I thought that the curled pages looked a little bit pale, so I just brushed on some vintage photo to make it look a little bit more aged. Next, it's time to hide some of the pages at the very top there of the paper clip. They're kind of all at different lengths, but that's okay because you could hide it and you can use either ribbon or washi. I feel like it's too light and it needs a little bit of a contrast, so I'm trying ribbon. Once I find this vertical striped one, I know it's perfect because each of the colors seem to kind of pull out the spines of the books at the bottom, so it kind of draws your eye back into the pile of books that she's standing on, which is just perfect. So it's bringing attention back down to the girl, and I love that. So I put the ribbon on first, then I go back and I add the photo corners to each of the corners. Next, what I wanted to do is, I was really happy with the way the pages curled, but I thought that over time they would maybe flatten out and look a bit flat. So I decided to put foam tape underneath the curled edges so they always remained plump and looked ruffled and full of volume, if you know what I mean. I'm also just curling the pages nicely there. Alright, so now it's time for the sentiment. I have these chipboard stickers, and one of the sentiments is really perfect here. It says, "Find your magic inside." And so what I wanted to do is finish off the sentiment with "Find your magic inside a book." So I pull one of these books that I have at the ready for any sentiments that I want to make, and I find a word that starts with a capital A, so all. So I cut the A out of that, and then there's a word there that says "booked in the dining room," and I cut that off to make the word "book." So I'm going to add them now to finish the entire sentiment so that it reads, "Find your magic inside a book." And I'm just adding that with PVA glue. And lastly, just a little bit of sprinkling of a little bit of extra embellishment. I go for these Amy Tangerine hearts. They're gorgeous. I love them. And it just adds that extra emotion to the fact that I love books and I love reading and I love how it extends my imagination. This is my paperclip for November 2018 mini Gorjuss stamp series. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. There is only one more to go for this series this year. Can't believe we're at the end of the year and I've stuck through with this series. So I'm really excited to do that last one for you. I hope you come back and join me, and I'll see you in my next video.